What's up, everybody? Shout out to everybody out there in the world. Shout out to all the fans, all the people out there in the world doing their thing. We're going to do our second industrial revolution, not revelation, review here. And that is going to start with reactions and there we go. All right. So there's only a few questions in these sections for each topic. Let me try and I'm like right in everybody's way here. Swing this bad boy. Whoa. There we go. All right. So first one, progress and challenges of independence and reform. So the period of the Industrial Revolution is going to see a number of not just industrial changes, but societal and governmental changes as well. And they're going to not only be significant because of the way that they alter the fabric of Europe, but also significant because some of the challenges that they're going to bring to the table as a result of the changes they make to the map of Europe. And additionally, I'm trying to share my screen on this Teams, John. That's not working. All right, forget it. All right, so we have independence movements in Greece. The Greeks seek to secure their independence through a combination of military resistance, diplomatic support, foreign volunteers, and European powers like Great Britain, France, and Russia, who play critical roles in supporting Greek aspirations for independence. Additionally, we have a movement in Russia aimed to establish a constitutional monarchy and limit the autocratic power of the Tsar. Their goals include the adoption of a constitution, individual freedoms, political reforms reflecting the influence of liberal and nationalistic ideas. So you have these two movements, which are very symbolic of the era. You have the Greek push for independence, and then the Russian push for reform. They're looking at what happens throughout Europe, and they're seeing the changes that are made and how different countries in Europe are kind of benefiting from these changes and these new forms of government, things like this. And so Russia decides they want in on the game. The big difference is Greece, who reaches out to all the different countries in Europe and the world for support for their independence. They get that support, right? So from the British, France, even Russia. But when Russia reaches out and they're like, hey, we'd like to do that thing now where we get a constitution and some rights, the rest of Europe goes, oh, good for you. And so it doesn't work out as well for them. Okay. So we have the French Revolution versus the July Revolution. Let me zoom out. Okay. The French Revolution of 1789 sought to broad political change, okay, on specific issues like demand for constitutional monarchy, increased political representation. Here's the difference between the July Revolution and the French Revolution in France. The French Revolution, as we all know, got pretty violent pretty quick, okay? And ultimately, that violence created economic and social instability, which in turn turned a lot of people off to it, and then ultimately resulted in the undoing of everything that the French Revolution sought to achieve and or did achieve. Okay, so it was like we didn't do real well there. All right. Now, the July Revolution is when people in France make a push for certain changes. All right. And they go about it in a way that's strategic to avoid the economic instability and thus the political instability and social instability and thus the violence that happened during the French Revolution. So they're trying to walk that line and basically get as much as they can of what they want, meet as many of their goals as they can without entering into a full-blown revolution and end up undoing everything that they did and having all these problems. So the July Revolution is like French Revolution light. It is the Diet Coke of the French Revolution period. And it's ultimately more successful long-term because of the way that they go about that. And then we have the Polish rebellion. Again, Poland decides to rebel. They reach out for support to some of their neighboring powers like Russia and Prussia, and ultimately it's unsuccessful. The rebellion's unsuccessful because they did not get foreign support, right? Greece does, and therefore they have success in achieving their independence. Poland does not, and therefore they do not have success with their rebellion. Okay? Yeah. Number next. Where's my cursor? Revolutions, Wars, and Reforms. Okay, 1848. We talked about the French Revolution of 1848. Represented progress by pushing for universal social reforms, but also reflected the conservatism as the Second Republic established a moderate and faced challenges from conservative forces. So it's not, again, French Revolution light. All right. Then we have Germany has a series of uprisings in 1848 with demands for constitutional monarchy and national unity. However, divisions among the German states are inadvertently. Why is it cutting off my screen? I gotta shrink it again. Duh. There you go. Cool. German states and the invention of conservative forces led to the suppression of these movements. So the uprisings in Germany are unsuccessful. Then we have challenges for Austria. Austria faces challenges in maintaining its empire due to nationalistic movements, ethnic diversity, and ethnic disparities. In 1848, revolutions heightened these challenges, leading to concessions, but also reinforcing conservative elements. So basically what's happening here is as the Industrial Revolution becomes more and more of a thing throughout Europe, it's going to create this sense of, one, connectivity amongst the different peoples and nations of Europe. So you have these countries that don't have the same rights and freedoms as other countries, and they're starting to see that. So, if you're from Austria or Poland, and you start interacting on a global or even just a European scale, and you're seeing the liberties and the rights that people in France have or England, you're going to say, why can't we do that, right? And so they push for it. And then additionally, because we have this sense of nationalism developing for the first time in Europe, the idea that you are a member of a state, not a local or regional, basically not where you grew up, where you were born, but you're French, you're German, you're Spanish, you're whatever, that's going to create problems because if you identify as Austrian, but you don't have control, your ethnicity is not the dominant power of your state. We have states or people pushing for independence or control based on their unified ethnic background. So they're pushing back against foreign powers controlling them, seeking independence. Some of these movements are successful, some of them are not successful. Really depends on who else in Europe is supporting them at the time. Revolutions of 1848, all right. In a nutshell, the revolutions of 1848 have short-term success, such as the constitutional reforms in some states, but ultimately conservative forces reassert their control, and the long-time consequences included in the persistence of nationalism and the eventual realization of some of the reform goals in subsequent decades. So basically, this is a period of a few revolutions or rebellions pushed back on conservatism, on the status quo, most of whom are unsuccessful, and those that are successful have mild, if any, success. All right, so that is that topic. Now we're going to do the next one. We're streaming. We're live. You guys can come in, yeah. It's my school one. Institutional responses and reforms. Institutional responses and reforms. Yeah, I know. This is the next one we're doing. Concert of Europe. All right. Is that the next one in the packet? I might do that one another day because I can't even think. I don't know that I wanted you guys to even do that. Hold on. Let me see. Yeah, we're going to skip that one. All right. So Concert of Europe and European conservatism. We've been talking about conservatism all damn day. Okay. What is the conservative response to mass movements? Okay. Conservative thinkers in Europe during this period meet it with apprehension. So basically what happens is as the Industrial Revolution takes hold, remember during that time, there's a movement of conservative thinking. Status quo, keep things the way they are. We don't like change. What does the Industrial Revolution bring? A lot of change. As the Industrial Revolution kicks off, we actually see a lot of movement of people around Europe, right? We have mass migration. People are moving from agrarian societies to urban societies in search of economic opportunity. We have people moving from state to state for economic opportunity, etc. And some people are not a fan of this, okay? They're concerned about social upheaval, erosion of traditional values, and threats to the monarchy and the aristocracy. Folks, it's this simple. When there's change, the people who are doing well don't like it and they fear it, right? These are the same concerns that people express today in Europe over mass migration, right? And it goes all the way back to the 1800s. Okay. Impact of the French Revolution on traditional powers. The French Revolution significantly challenged traditional positions of power, including monarchies, the church, the military. Monarchies now face the threat of overthrow and were often replaced by republics. The church suffered from secularization of society, and the military underwent changes in loyalty and command structures. Edmund Burke, who's a big political theorist of the day, was hesitant to advocate for democracy due to his belief in the importance of preserving established institutions and traditions. Again, Edmund Burke is a conservative thinker. And so even if he kind of agrees with the change, he always fears it and kind of opposes it, right? Like even if change is good, I don't necessarily know if I want it. If you are conservative, you have a somewhat pessimistic view of the world, right? Hence, change is not always good and rarely is good. Yeah, you're a camera nerd. How do I stream from a GoPro?
Me?
Yeah.
You have to
No. Just wireless. Wow, thanks for your help.
You know, I never said I was good at cameras.
Aren't you in a video production class?
I was.
What?
What? Not a stream from a GoPro?
No. No. Yeah. Photography. I can't get that. No.
Everybody got this? Can I move on? Conservative agenda and the Congress of Vienna. A good example of the conservative agenda is the Congress of Vienna, aimed at reestablishing control and restoring Europe to its pre-revolutionary status quo. So basically, and we already learned about the Congress of Vienna when we talked about Napoleon. So this is just a rehash. Basically, when Napoleon finally is ultimately defeated and France is really checked, when the Napoleonic era ends, the conservatives seek to reset the board back to where it was pre-Napoleon. So Napoleon runs around Europe and beats the hell out of people, conquers people, changes borders, extends France, etc. And then when he's ultimately done, it's like, all right, let's put everything back the way that it was. So if Napoleon is the annoying kid that runs into your living room and just trashes everything and throws his toys all over the place, conservatism is the mom that comes in and straightens everything up the way that it was before they came in. So that's what they seek to do with the Congress of Vienna. Let's see, is there another one we're going to do? Causation in the age of industrialization. Did I do that one? What's the next one, guys? in the packet. Okay, we did that in class, not the vocabulary. Did most of the questions, finish the questions tomorrow. Institutional responses and reforms. Okay, what's it? Where's romanticism? It's not in there? Oh, yeah, it is. Right. All right, so we have two topics left in there that we didn't do. Is that correct?